Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the greatest of all greatest podcasts that we are doing tonight on this particular channel. How's everybody doing? It's Tribe Talks time, baby. You might notice we have a certain guest with us today. His name is Tassnix, and he's been with us once before, and he's come back to return. How you doing, Tass?
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me again.
Good. It's always a pleasure. And Karth's here as well, but he's a part of the furniture, so we don't ask him how he's doing.
This is fair, but
Yeah,
I
how
feel
you
like
doing,
you got way too. I think you got way too close to the lawnmower this weekend.
Hey, dude.
Holy crap!
I am
everything's
as
gone.
smooth as a baby's bum. You know why that happened? Well, I'm sure you can
You
guess.
lost a bet.
You shaved your hair. No. What happened was it was before going out last night with my brother and our mate. I was like, you know what? I'll have a bit of a beard trim. I'll look a little bit suave, a little bit dapper, so everybody can be jealous of how good I look, right? And then I accidentally shaved too much off my mustache, and the whole look was ruined. So I was just like, fuck it, it all goes. So I just shaved the whole damn lot. Yeah, it was a good time.
I hear that.
Fantastic.
On the plus side, Mrs. Scribble saw it and she was like, ooh, you look nice. She likes me beardless. She likes me smooth.
You could do worse.
I could do worse. And generally
That's fair.
speaking, they say happy wife, happy life. So I try to embrace that culture. What's going on, everybody in the chat? I hope you're well. This is the Tribe Talks podcast where we talk about nothing but Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and apparently my facial hair.
Yes.
So yeah. I've just realized I still have the music playing. I'm going to tone that all the way down because we don't need the music playing now. We want to listen to our dulcet tones. So, Galaxy of Heroes, what's happened in this last week, gentlemen?
Well, we got some freshly injected steroids into that Starkiller squad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That I'm like, just by what the Stranger's kit brings to the game, I'm low-key terrified to see who they bring in as the new Darkside Uhu for the team. I'm really hoping it's nothing related to the Acolyte, but as long as it's a one-off, I'll survive it, I guess. But the Jesus Christ, man, like, you're gonna take Starkiller, you're just like, what if we just like dial this up to 11?
You know what Starkiller needs? He needs more power and he needs more Omicrons to work with, okay? He just doesn't have enough. Like, goddamn. And that extra Darkside Ufu that they're looking to release, like, all fingers point to May from the Stranger, but from the Acolyte. But I really hope CG don't go down that route. I can't think of another Darkside Ufu.
It's gonna be whichever one was the Darkside twin. Accept it. Accept it. Like,
in my opinion, they're both fucking Darkside. They can suck my dick. Although
the Stranger's here, and if we're lucky, you've got just as much justification for something like Darkside Ray as you do for Darth Plagueis. So maybe the light at the end of the tunnel is surprise Darth Plagueis somewhere.
I mean, maybe, but sorry, guys. I'm jumping around and just going to reorientate.
Just wanted to mag up on my face there, buddy.
Yeah, I really like the way you look, bro. You need to be front and center. No, what was I going to say? Shit, fuck, arse, tits, arse candle. Karth, you go while I try and remember my stupid ADHD brain.
It's just, for the most part, like when it comes to the Ufu, I would kind of hope, like, my brain's kind of racking on the idea that maybe they use the Darkside Ufu as like the winter, December, January, like, epic confrontation we've done for the last couple of years, or like something like that, and we get something that's kind of like, the TW iteration of a new and improved Ufu squad. Let Juhani find some use somewhere else and give us something a little bit more iconic. Not that I'm like would be wildly disappointed with like Osha or May coming, but I have no interest in that content. The Stranger is cool. The playbooks of this, the sauce is great with him.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of fun potential with that. I don't want to go down a whole Acolyte theme, I guess, is my hesitation. But I mean, if it's what it is, then fine. But I'm really hoping they use that like winter legendary release and they kind of usher in something else with that. But we'll see. That's my hopes.
I mean, it's kind of weird to me because I know you, Tass, that I remember what you were saying now. And my counter argument is about you were talking about Plagueis, right? And I was like, that might eventually happen one day because, them bringing the Stranger is indicative of they're not afraid to take content out of there. And we already have Darkseid Vision Ray, who we saw for 2.5 seconds of screen time, and we have a whole kit. But
exactly.
like this new Ufu can't be Plagueis because he would be a Sith, right? And also it's supposed to be like an acolyte. It's supposed to be essentially an underling rather than
that's what I kind of mean
big
is
bad,
like
right?
Definitely, probably not as part of the new Star Killer team,
for sure.
but as something like, so this is where we're throwing in some acolyte characters. Now that we've done this Ufu team, now let's talk about your Jedi from the show. Yeah. And maybe at the tail end of all of that, a surprise, motherfucker, Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We could do.
I'm just saying, no indication for why that would be, but you had no indication that acolyte specific stuff was coming.
I mean, this era is fucking weird, right? It's like, hey, have a B-Wing. And you're like, okay, cheers. Hey, have the Rogue One. You're like, okay, fine. And Forlom and Zuckuss. And you're like, what the fuck? What Adderall-ridden ADHD fucking era is this right now? And then they're like, and you'll have the Stranger too, because there's a theme here, and the theme is random bullshit. So yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Well, Conquest has never been intended to line up with the thematic release of an era, but it is interesting to see where the next era goes. Being
Maz
short,
Smee, and
well, again, never intended doesn't mean that it can't, which they also stated in their post.
Yeah, true. So yeah, I don't know. You guys have broader knowledge of the wider Star Wars universe. Who do you think could actually be that Darkseid Ufu?
Oh man, that's so hard.
Well, I'm sorry. I thought that's who we were talking about earlier. I thought that's going to be the Darkseid sister.
Yeah, but I mean, if it's not, right? Because I have a feeling they won't.
Which Darkseid sister?
Yes,
because it's like, is it
the one that was actually Darkseid,
or the one that was Darkseid after?
wait. The one that was started out as like his little acolyte, or are we talking about the one
that's actually evil in intention and deep?
So Osha.
Actually, I forgot which one was which.
May is the evil one, right? Isn't it?
May starts as the acolyte, but then they swap.
Yeah. But she's still Darkseid, I would argue.
She's still Darkseid. I won't argue the point, but May leaves the Stranger and kind of like goes out on her own, and Osha becomes the new acolyte.
Yeah, she does at the end of
some really
hashtag spoilers. Sorry, everybody. Oh God!
So that the plot can happen. That's not an ability. If that's not an ability,
so that the plot can happen. Yeah, one unique called plot armor. Second unique, so the story can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times. But if it's not those twins, one or both or either or another, who else could it actually be?
It'd have to be just characters spun out of straw, right? Because as far as like Darkseid unaligned Force user, the only other Darksiders we observe in the show are Sith.
Yeah.
So if it's going to be just straight up acolyte themed, I don't know that they've really got a second choice. They could force the issue. You know, they could say a character is more dark because of how they performed in this scene and they're overly emotional. I don't know, blah, 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 blah. Like some post hoc justification could be made. But I don't see why it wouldn't be Osha, I guess.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Just can't imagine it.
I'm clutching at straws because I just don't want it to be characters from the
I mean, I feel like they were pretty direct with us about it, right? They're like, and as of yet unannounced, unaligned Force user character, all but saying it's like, bet you can't guess who this will be.
Well, yeah. People in chat saying Darth Crate.
I mean, that would be interesting, but
I want him to lead Tuskens, surely, then, right?
My hope is that they pick up the epic confrontation or legendary slot for the winner with this character, or maybe they just pull this ends up being one of the marquees. I don't know, but part of me goes like, if you're gonna pull these characters to this team, either in TW you need to have the team function with Juhani and her Omicron, or they need to pick up a new Omicron character for the team. Because
there is zero chance that whatever this new character is, they give it GAC Omnis, because fuck no.
Yeah, between Starkiller and the Stranger, I doubt they're going to double down on that again.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a possibility because it could go a lot of different directions, because Sears' team could still use a TW UFU. Mm-hmm. And same for the Stranger, they could use a TW UFU. But I was just going to go through and see. Yeah, because his kit only calls out exactly one Jedi. Doesn't care who. The kit post says that Barriss will be the most ideal, air quotes on that, Jedi. A Jedi for the team. But that's depends on, do they meet our standard expectations of what we would use.
Do we think we'll get a little bit of a mini rework on Barriss, kind of like what happened to Ayla?
That would be really cool and a nod to her story, or her character art. But man, I don't know what you do with Barriss. It doesn't make her just absolutely a nightmare later on.
Just make her immune to
make
shock.
Make her entire unique, like Ayla's, where it's like if the Stranger's in the leadership position, all this affects.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
Nothing happens. I mean, that's kind of what I was kind of going
with. Yeah, Darkside Barriss would be hot. I wasn't thinking about that.
No, Darkside Barriss. That is a good shout. Yeah.
She would be closer to Inquisitorius than she would be to Sith, which is a Desufu tag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
maybe we do get Darkside Barriss. That would be fucking cool. I would be down. Well,
that's kind of also where I'm like, I was looking on the lines of like a newer Asajj, because she was once again a part of the. Was she part of the last Tales of the Jedi series, or am I misremembering?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen the new one, but
she was in Bad Batch season 3.
Yeah, Bad Batch season 3. She was in at the end, wasn't she? Yeah. Very, very briefly.
Yeah. But I mean, that would be another one too that you could run with, because I don't think Asajj ever, at least canonically from the shows, has ever really strayed back to the light. She's at the best of it gone neutral, but realistically, she's still. I mean, if you can call every bounty hunter besides Greef and Mando a dark side character, you could still call Asajj a dark side UFU, even under her newest iteration, which wouldn't be a bad design shout, because people would like to have the new Asajj appearance be represented in the game, because that was actually kind of fun to have her brought back again.
Yeah, that would be cool. Even if it would be a little bit weird having a light side and dark side Asajj on the same team, but not Asajj. Sorry, I was going back to Barriss then.
Wouldn't be the first time though. I mean, you got crew and crew, GK and GK
and JMK and Ray.
Yeah, exactly.
Ray. No, it wouldn't be the first time at all. It would be nifty.
Triple Ray and Ray, crew and crew.
Ray.
Yeah. So, thoughts then about Stranger's actual kit, gentlemen? Absurdly powerful.
It is nutty. Like they have a very high aspirations for what this team will do, is from what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I think exactly what we need is more power in non-GL teams. That's fine. I guess I shouldn't be too mad about it, I suppose, because the Seer Malicos team is a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that this team will be a lot of fun, and that will assuage my grumpiness about it. But I don't know.
Fair.
Yeah.
He's Captain Insano. Like, as far as if you're considering him as a part of a team, he's probably the single best conquest unit ever. As a standalone single unit, You can argue Exile Ezra, and that's it.
Or Bane,
that's
potentially.
It top of the heap. We're talking.
Yeah,
just top notch. Absolute destruction. I heard that CG's already made a balance change or two for what they anticipate would be issues with this character. I believe it because on a plain reading, this does not seem remotely fair.
No, it doesn't.
We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully at the end of the road, we've got something that's defensively viable, because I don't really need another I definitely kill everything for sure team.
Yeah, an I win button team. Because we have a few of those already. Yeah, it's just like you're in for a wild ride when the basic alone, can essentially give this guy ridiculous levels of speed.
Yeah.
Like, all right, okay, so we'll just have a 600 speed stranger. Granted.
One does.
Granted, that you'd have to. I think you have to trigger all 50 triggers of his basic ability. But still, that is kind of nutty. That's kind of nutty.
It is. Yes.
In 3v3, he's got insta kills on every one of his active abilities, so that he can insta kill everyone at least once. So that's nice. I'm just glad I do at least. Oh well, no, actually, because if you threw in Malicos into this team as a temporary Darkside Ufu, then there would be no revives as well, right? So it's just kind of shores up all of the shortcomings. It's going to be terrifying in 3v3 in particular. I'm glad they didn't make him immune to insta kills himself. So theoretically, you can just go JMK Cat, Ye out Stranger, and breathe a sigh of relief, I guess. But that's still a big fucking counter. Oh my god.
Yeah, it would be pretty crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
Any kooky ideas you can think of fun 3v3 teams to use him in?
It's one of those things where if you're going to set him bottom front when he's fresh, it's almost impossible to go wrong. People are going to be tempted to overkill it. And I'm assuming this second character will be standard fare. A couple folks, I know content creators, folks here, a couple people in the chat here tonight have already said Exile Ezra.
Yep.
Being set in. I personally don't feel that's going to be worth it, because it's one of those things where, will it make it an unquestionably powerful team? Sure. Does it block out whatever the major predator is for the team anyway, whenever we come to see what this looks like? My guess would be is you're probably happier with Exile Ezra in the end, with Ahsoka, or with Rey. That thing is still kicking around. But as far as concentrating that in here, now you've got a Rey that is still beaten by the old EP Starkiller team.
Yep.
And you've got what? You've got an Ahsoka that can be beaten by JKR, BKM, Great Mothers, what have you. Yeah. So I don't know that it'll be worth that concentration, but yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. And in 3v3, you definitely won't, because in order to get all the juice, you need to have 2 Darkside Ufus for 3v3 for the Stranger's Kit, I believe. So you definitely won't be doing Ezra in 3s. Maybe in 5s, but again, it goes back to, is it really worth completely neutering your Glat or objectively weakening someone like Rey? But I don't even know.
No, they intentionally stand on it in 3v3 to go, it's 2 Darkside Ufus, or you don't get the leadership at all.
So that, So it definitely feels like, at least for now, I would go in with Malicos in there. I mean, you could use Maul, but although it would be kind of fun, you could potentially throw in Ninth Sister and Ninth Sister's Cron as well, couldn't you? Because once we went over before,
Inquisitors you could, but she needs attacks out of turns. You could also just set her with like Ninth and Second Sister, and then you would still. I mean, I don't know if it would be enough to carry anything, but
yeah. Well, isn't that Kron going to be long in the rear view by the time we get him?
Oh yeah, it'll be dust.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
yeah. We have this season, and then 5s, and then it goes away. So we've got 4 more GAC rounds with it, weeks with GAC with the week in between. So we should see it out in 6 weeks, and Stranger shouldn't be here for 12-ish.
Yeah, Stranger Malicos Starkiller sounds like an absolute horror show.
It does. Because that's
Um,
a 9 Omicron team, 3v3.
All GAC armies, let's go.
So here's the question, though. Is it going to have enough oomph? And will there be a Datacron meta that forbids just knocking it out with with Sith Eternal? Like, you're going to link Malicos as one. You'll link the Stranger as the other. And the question is, can they collectively destroy your shit with 2 of them not able to crit you?
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
It just depends on what C needs to pick up to go with that. Because if it's C Bane, then I mean that's a decent trade. Not great, but decent. You're committing 2 really good counters to one team versus having them spread out. But if you're going like C Watt, then that's pretty vanilla cheap in the 3v3 cycle to take out a 9 Omicron team that you could easily have split into 3 decent threats. So I guess it depends. If you got to pick up Bane, it's worth the trade. I would assume, depending on what you set for the defense.
Yeah.
But if you can just pick it apart with C Watt and a tank, put set there on the side, then it's not a great banner win, but it's a great efficiency trade on resources.
Definitely.
Makes sense. Definitely.
And I'm sure it can, offensively speaking, I'm sure it will tackle pretty much anything, which is fun. So, yeah. I don't know. We also had Forlom, right? Forlom was or was it Zuckus? I can't remember.
Forlom was the first one.
Yeah. Forlom first, Zuckus later.
Yeah. And it does look like he's actually going to be in, like, correct me if I'm wrong, his leadership seems pretty solid, truth be told.
He looks dope. He's clearly intended to be with Zuckus, and I don't know who all else is new. So this is one of those. My suspicion is this is probably like the birth of another, what would you say, new Bad Batch level team, right? Sure. Probably not tip top of the meta, but if you're willing to do the work with it, however, you're going to end up needing to clock it, whatever the best mods are for the predators that you end up identifying this team is well capable of going after. It'll be something where you can punch up. That's my expectation at the end of the road.
Yeah. Which makes sense because I don't think they're going to, dump a new team. They're going to pick up, it looks like Cad and Aura at the minimum.
Yes.
For the team. And then you have Zuckus, Forlom, and then +1. Which I'm not quite sure which bounty hunter else I'd want to throw in that, but Cad's kind of one of those. The mechanics go back and forth. It makes sense to have Cad there. Aura got that new rework, but touch up that gives her that makes that sniper actually deal some damage.
Yeah, doesn't it goes against stunned characters now? I think it works now. Is that right?
Yeah, let me double check her real quick.
Because it's like 200% extra damage. And 200% extra damage to stunned targets, and it resets the cooldown. So you'll be able to just back to back, boom, boom, boom. So it'll probably be quite powerful.
Yeah, if all allies were non-galactic legend bounty hunters at the start of the battle, this attack deals 200% more damage to stunned targets, and this ability's cooldown is reset.
Does Zuckus have does Forlom have a stun in his kit? I can't recall.
Aura stuns on basic, and Cad Bane stuns on special. Forlom, I don't know if he does. I don't think so.
I can't recall yet myself. I do not have the kit committed to memory. I appreciate that you think I might, but no.
I was literally looking through it to see if any of the corrupted translation added into a stun, but I don't think they're relative mercy. Shock. The part was stunned, but vulnerable. So that doesn't look like it inflicts it. Basic does not inflict it. I don't think he would. Doesn't
but with the mass assist, if Aura is stunning on a basic potentially,
With all the
okay.
non-GL callouts, though, I would wonder if Zam might make the best fifth for this team.
Zam, hey?
Well, she's done nothing since, the original iteration, but giving the team
she does have a
massive,
well. Yeah.
that massive stat boost and speed boost, that could really help this get out in front of a lot of those triple Omicron teams.
That would
so I
be
wouldn't be
cool.
surprised, but it definitely depends on what Zuckuss does, because Forlom got a TB on me, which again, why?
Why you do this?
But hopefully Zuckuss gets something, maybe GAC related, and I don't know if that's going to be the end of the ride. I'm just trying to look through the rest of the bounty hunters that kind of have some plug and play, because
I just find it a little bit weird because this era is short, right? We're finishing up like mid-Nov, and there's like a month before CG breaks off the vacation period. So it's like, it feels like we're getting something extra, like in the last bit. And I don't know if that's going to be a continuation. I don't know if it's going to be, let's jump on to what we really wanted to do for next era. I don't know if it's going to be Osha May, but maybe we'll have an extra character.
It's either going to be incredibly short, and it's going to be like a mini era where it's like,
it's
6 weeks, one episode. We just added a couple extra things. This will last us until we're back from break in January. It could be 2 full episodes again, like they did with this one, right?
Yeah.
They could do one that lasts through from mid-November to mid-December to mid-January. That goes through. So there's possible that there's still 2 episodes in the next era, just another short one. But I mean, it's still possible that they drop, 4 characters. Granted, I doubt they're going to do that while they're gone on vacation. So
no,
it's hard to say.
Yeah,
there's a reason why they bookended this one short, though. They're trying to keep something under wraps when in December.
It does feel that way to me. And, it's quite likely we get some sort of legendary release at the end of the year. But what that might be, who knows?
Lord only knows.
Exactly. So either way, I thought Forlom, I don't remember the kit very well, but I remember reading through the kit and thinking, this seems pretty damn powerful. This seems fun.
Yes. And the ship that'll eventually come with it. Somebody already mentioned in the chat, but when we get the Mist Hunter, that's hopefully what we're going to get to make Executor just not utterly destroyed by the existence of any Rebel fleet.
If they fuck with my cheese again, if they piss in my sauce by somehow releasing this ship and it counters profundity, I'm going to be a very angry little scribble. I'll be a nasty, angry little bald man from Wales. I don't mind. I don't mind, in theory, Executor having some additional ship, okay? In theory. However, it should not be beating the profundity with quite the degree it was when the Punishing One came out. And we've seen the level of power creep that's happened in Fleet. The B-Wing is fucking insane. The Rogue One is fucking insane. The Punishing One was fucking insane. Let's cool the jets, cool the engines a little bit, and maybe, hopefully, get a whole new fleet. I want a whole new fleet.
No strong disagreements here. Yeah.
Except for everything you just said. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they've got the creative space, I guess.
And they could at some point decide that they want to adjust the Executor and and bring it up in a different competitive dynamic, and bring out the Mist Hunter to do that again, and maybe let the Mist Hunter be the anti-Sith kind of thing that allows it to fight the Leviathan, and then they just dump, the next fleet on us shortly thereafter. But I'm open to the options, to be honest with you. I am so open to anything besides what we're stuck with. Like, I don't hate the Leviathan. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm just kind of done with being on the same meta for 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm really kind of griping on.
Yeah. Like anything, it's kind of like, when you don't have a new raid for a very long time, like what happened when we had Heroic Sith. As good of a raid as Heroic Sith was, when we went so long before we got a new raid, and the new raid was Crankle, and it was an absolute clusterfuck when it first released. It's just like, we need something new and fresh, guys. Just anything new and fresh. I don't even care what the fleet is, thematically speaking, but make it new, make it sexy, please.
Make it pirates. No, please
make
don't.
it pirates.
Really.
Yeah, Yar! Yeah. Just give
First
Pirate
Galactic
King
Legend
Honda a fleet.
pilot. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go.
It's just good business, baby.
This can't go wrong. This can't go wrong.
Right. Yeah. So good times. How has your GAC gone recently, Tass? I'm sure you're still chilling at the top of the world there.
I'm still in the top bracket or so. It's just, it's like one real match a week. I'm lucky this week I have two. Just, I feel the accumulation of how many Erodium matchups there are because there's just that many less times I get to practice things.
Yeah.
So you figure that's partially alleviated when Datacron metas rotate and then everybody's kind of starting semi-fresh. But yeah, it's just something I'm just working through, man. I've got no control over these Erodiums. And fortunately right now, there's only 2 in the top bracket, but it's not less than 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it should definitely be less than 2. Let's be real. It should be 0. And I feel you, man. Like, it's like I like streaming GAC, and how on earth can you do that? And I still
enjoy doing it. Like, I don't mean to say that I'm down on the experience. I've had like really fun streams. I'm able to guest some of my co-hosts from my podcast.
Sick.
Sometimes my patrons. Other times, just doing other shit. Like, I still have a good time, and it's really weird because, like, some of the most, like, if we're talking, like, financially successful in terms of, like, hype train and stuff, just random ass shit happening, like, huge hype trains while I'm doing the end credits and stuff like that. Like, on a round that I lost, right? Yeah. So it's like, you know what? I'm just going to take it all in stride. So that's what I mean when I say I'm working through it. I'm not down on it, but it's like,
yeah.
Man, it's I made this error, and I'm sure if I had just a little bit more practice to have learned this error earlier, I learned about this earlier, I wouldn't have done it today, and that's where I feel like I'm at a loss. Sorry, back to you.
No, it's all good. It's interesting stuff. Yeah. So, Karth, how about you, mate? How's GAC gone recently?
Oh, it's been fine. I'm a little low key, like having an axe to grind versus my last opponent, but it's just
how come?
Just they were able to get a 77, 76, and 75 on my fleets.
Oh,
nice.
And they needed that to win. They had to average 75 in fleet to win. And they were able to get +3 after fleet. And it's not without, depending on what they use, it's not outside the realm of possibilities. But like, that's why I hate playing with them knowing exactly what they have to do to score. Because it's like, I went through and looked at their history, and they have never undermanned a fleet fight in the last like 3 weeks. And yet they were willing to 3-man versus my negotiator fleet, and they're willing to 1 reinforce versus my malevolence. Just like you knew you had to, because there was no other option. If you don't get it, you lose, right? But it's like the fact that they have that card in their hand is just a little obnoxious to me, because like I scored 278 or 2078, so and they scored 2081. So it's like, God, I'm a little annoyed because I was beating the pants off him in the ground game, but he was just able to come back just enough to make fleet matter that much. And it's just like, it infuriates me. I don't think they did anything wrong. I just it makes me want to double check, because I have, in like the last year of playing, I have never had anybody like greater than 75 average my fleets. Like that feels really nutty to me, but it happened. So here we are. But I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm not that brokenhearted about losing one particular match. So it's just like, I like to win my first 2 so I can take the last one off and just throw it and play it easy. But, it is what it is. It is just, I'll have to go win the next one instead. So I'll survive it. I promise.
Mm-hmm.
Don't blame me.
Let's, if you don't mind, something that I think a lot of people want to talk about is fleet. In terms of what do you actually do on defense these days? I think that there's still some debate for some players, but for me, it's settled. Like Executor's dead, man.
Yes.
Until some other change is made. Like I never in my fleet life have I said, oh boy, I'll just regularly set this fleet down that I have the expectation people in my neighborhood are going to get a 77 on. Let's just go ahead for that. Yeah, we're not going to do that. So no Executor. I faced something last round that I want to share with you guys because I thought it was pretty cool.
Okay.
My opponent set home one with Darth Vader.
What?
Iden and Gauntlet up front. And then B-Wing reinforcement came out first. Then it was Interceptor that came out next, and then there were two other reinforcements besides. So, bomber, something.
Yeah.
Interesting fleet, but whatever. I mean, just if you're otherwise expecting the enhanced home one regular Rebel fleet, maybe this throws a wrinkle at you. Either way, I think this home one feels good being down. If you're like up higher in Kyber 1, you have all the fleets, you have all the options. This home one fleet doesn't feel bad being down, whether you're going to do this funky combined Empire setup or just a pure Rebel thing. Leviathan, some folks, go for Phantom 2, some go for SAS. I go for Phantom 2. So Leviathan, I think, belongs down now because that's your target for Executor. When we think about what fleet meta has classically been, it's when you're talking about what you're setting on your defense, your intention is generally to maximize RNG for the opponent.
Yep.
So, maybe we both struggle today with, Executor versus Leviathan. But we both have to take the gamble because I'm just not feeding you 77. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
And then the third fleet my opponent set was Finalizer. So he set Finalizer, and with 4 other ships. I mean, we only saw the first reinforcement come out that was Ghost, and then we defeated it. But you would set something like Finalizer if you were going to combine that Empire and Home 1 fleet that way, right? Otherwise, you could just have your Executrix fleet as the third fleet. So have Home 1, Pure Rebel, Leviathan, and, Executrix.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're not flat-footed. Like, I didn't like losing a couple weeks back Executor versus Leviathan. But that's forcing me to practice it, and I understand that there's still going to always be some RNG to it. Let that be the case for the both of us, then.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had that unfortunately cost me around, was it last week of 5s or was it first round of this week? And I was like super clean on the ground game, and I took in my profundity counter to Leviathan, and the enemy bomber happened to get the 2% dodge on the big hit from my Outrider, so I ended up being 5% short on the ult. And I was like, if I'd have just landed that hit, I would have won. And then I ended up dropping like 3 or 4 battles on fleets in total in order to get the full clear. And then I lost on banner efficiency. I was like, if he hadn't have just got that 2% dodge, we'd have been fine. So I went the route of I'm just going to be a little bitch and just save all the meta fleets for offense. So I'm just taking them all on offense and fuck fleets. I'm just like, I don't like dropping fleet battles. I don't, even when I couldn't have done anything about it. It's just annoying, but I do, I appreciate it. And I will say the home 1 fleet, not specifically the one you spoken about, because I haven't seen that. That seems wild to me. It's actually genuinely quite scary. That fleet is. You can't no brainer it, because there's so much damage in the opener. It's crazy. It will tear you up. Like, it took out my Executor, for Christ's sake. Like, I was like, I beg pardon? I beg pardon?
I would be mad.
Yeah. I would definitely advise
See-
putting home one on defense.
That's where I'm like confused because he 75'd mine. Like that's where I'm just like, I want to know what you use because I have questions, not because
What were your other two fleets down?
It was nothing great. It was Malevolence and Negotiator. So he short manned Negotiator with Leviathan more than likely because I believe he had Leviathan on for offense. He put Executor on defense.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be able to trivialize it when you don't have something heavy like when I'm. Yeah. So consider trying Leviathan or Profundity, one of the top ones. To replace.
No, yeah. Oh yeah, no, it was just a light defense. It was just curious because he had his Empire, his home one, and then Executor on defense. So he probably 3-manned versus Negotiator. Used the more than likely used the Negotiator +1 versus Malevolence for a 76, and then used Profundity versus Home 1 is more than likely what happened. If I could accurately break down what he would have done. So, because the Profundity straight up stops the TM games from Master Plan, so there's just they don't take their turns. You don't deal the damage. So.
Fun times. Yeah.
So, anyways, I can see how he got there. Like, I want to confirm that what was used was what it was. I'm just, again, more or less the fact that he could know in ahead of time that he needed to underman in that fashion is the only thing that grinds my gears about how the system works. That's all.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. Good stuff. So my GAC week has been kind of shit. I've just lost every round. So hopefully maybe I'll have a pity win. And because I like nothing hurts my soul more than going 0-3. I'm just like, I can't bear. So, yeah. So hopefully not. Yeah. So Tass, haven't really seen what your take is on the wonderful news of Relic Delta. What's your thoughts? High-level thoughts?
Sure. Yeah, I've actually had a couple like dedicated streams just talking with people about it, and I mean, so first of all, I think like strong takes in general, conclusive takes about how far-reaching its effects will be for people with middle-sized rosters, anything that's like a really solid take. Like a hard take, I don't think is warranted because of just how much the numbers have changed in the 5 now iterations of test numbers. It is a joined at the hip system being introduced to push the player base that's in the middle towards the late part of the game. Because they want to introduce Relic 10, but they want to create incentive to go for Relic 10 in an environment where people with Relic Deltas of, you're hearing Relic 5 taking on Relic 9, so Relic Deltas of 4 being able to, not in the broad case, but let's say just on a 3 versus 3 board or 5 versus 5 board, even just 1 or 2 fights, that's a major advantage, being able to punch up like that. And because it's reliable due to the mechanics of a team, and assuming that you've gone to the effort to have the specialty modding and whatever, like I admit there's a lot of work that goes into making these punch-up counters happen. But if you're a systems designer and you're saying that, well, I'm trying to introduce Relic 10 here, and this is the new vertical progression, we're going to create new content, we need people to feel like spending money on this is going to matter, and having it getting dusted by comparatively Relic 6 characters, Relic 6 with a Relic Delta of 4 taking on Relic 10. If that were still going to be largely the case, I think people would be down on it. I think people wouldn't see the value in Relic 10. It needs to feel like it matters. And the thing is that, I mean, there's a whole bunch I have to say about this. folks saying this is terrible. It's like, okay, what would you do instead? I don't know, not this. They don't need to do this. They could do something else. It's okay. Well, when I try and pin people down about, you read the dev post, and by the way, a lot of people had a very firm opinion about what this is and what this wasn't, reading like 6 lines into the post, definitely not having read into it. Like so many posts on Reddit, stuff on the less of it on the events server than on Reddit, but just all sorts of dumb takes where it's like four replies in, somebody's like, did you read where they addressed that here? And it's, oh no, I didn't see that. I was just so mad when I started reading. Okay, whatever, dude. Like, whatever, man. I'm not even trying to entertain, like, seriously engage that, that's whatever. But like,
yeah,
sorry,
I definitely, well, I was just going to interject and say, I definitely don't have a whole lot of patience for anybody that has a hardline stance, either way, for or against, right? Because I feel like the door should always be open to discussion, and it should be reasoned discussion, not fuck CG, they hate us. And this, I've been quite vocal in saying I don't particularly like Rag Delta, but at least I'm okay having a discussion about it and listening to someone's opinion and reasoning and actually talking it out rather than just hurling insults at people. That happens a lot. So. Yeah,
well, I'll tell you what. Here we got somebody in the chat challenging what I'm saying, and this is what we did on a couple of my streams. He says, "LOL, this isn't creating an incentive. This is punishing. Punishments don't result in player retention. They result in player exodus. Quit trying to spin." I'm not spinning anything. Like, Relic Delta doesn't do anything to me, dude. I'm at the top of the game, and if I occasionally meet a player that's got a couple 3-4 million less GP than me, they're up here for a reason. I'm delighted to fight them. So please don't think I'm shilling for it because I see any type of gain. Like, for me at all, I'm saying that it is clear from their design statement, their intention, that they've tied the creation of Relic Delta to the problem of incentivizing Relic 10. That's not my take. That's their take. Now, you go on to say, an incentive to get people to invest in higher relics would be to create content that rewards it, which they did say they're going to do, but they see past what they envision that they haven't shared with us yet, and they still see that this problem might exist. So that's why they're looking for it. That requires them to put in more dev dollars in. Relic Delta is the laziest solution to a made-up problem. Well, it's not a made-up problem. It is a real problem in terms of, like, you're saying, like, this is going to cause a mass exodus. The people that this is going to cause a mass exodus for are going to be largely free-to-play. I think the best arguments I've seen against Relic Delta are for people that are strictly free-to-play. If you spent on a Lightspeed bundle, if you're any type of light spender, the game has been catering for you for some time. And now if you've picked up a couple Lightspeed bundles, you're heading into the mid-game, you're going to be entering into that point where you could feasibly set yourself up to have a Relic Delta 4, your Relic 5s fighting Relic 9s for a couple teams. And that is a huge advantage, but yeah. So let me put this back on you, Frozen Italiano, and of course, don't let me hijack your show, Scribe. But I want folks that say that this is the wrong solution. CG's being lazy. They're destroying their game. Okay, well, what would you do instead? Because they outlined several possible solutions and explained why they felt Relic Delta was the worst. You just saying it's the worst and hand waving it away does not address the core of what is a legitimate design problem for the game. Because you're saying, like, it's going to cause a mass exodus. It's going to cause a mass exodus of free to play. And frankly, from a business perspective, this is not something about games in general. This is something about mobile games specifically. Why do free-to-players have value to a mobile game? For somebody that pays money to fight, aside just from the people who spend money. It just broadens the player pool. That is what free-to-play players have as a value to this game. So for free-to-play players to say that them introducing this system to protect the value of Relic 10 and push players from the middle towards the late of the game. And by the way, they did say they'll be giving out more resources. We do not have details.
Not yet.
And you're right to hold their feet to the fire about details until we get them. But yeah, like, it's Relic Delta is not something I have a firm opinion on either. I'm just seeing what the intent is, and I don't know what a better solution is. But I think if folks are saying CG's being lazy, I think it is equally lazy to say this is wrong. It's like, well, what do you think is right? Because they're addressing. You can't say it's not a real design issue. Where's your $2 billion grossing phone game? I'm going to go ahead and trust them about what they think their design issue is for their 10-year plus running phone game that's grossed $2 billion. Like the audacity of some, not you specifically, Frozen, but I've seen a lot of people say stuff like they have no idea what they're doing. It's like, yeah, where's your $2 billion phone game?
Well, I think tangentially what ends up happening with that too is people are looking at other games like Marvel Strike Force that did something similar to this, and they're seeing how catastrophically that played in its conception. And they are doing an apples to apples comparison on the systems, and they're not the same. Just straight up, they're not the same. And I think that's the big problem is people are looking at what happened in one place and it's like, well, it's tangentially close to what we're seeing here. Therefore, we expect the same results to occur here. And like, well, that's not how this works, but that's also what they addressed in their initial post. They were trying to keep from this game becoming a stat padding issue with every relic level where it's like, all right, listen, you're not happy that we're putting Relic Delta in. So would you rather have Relic 10 add 50 speed, 50,000 health, 50,000 protection, 20% tenacity, potency, crit chance, crit avoidance, all that other bullshit, and then make every Relic Delta beyond that add so many ridiculous stats that it's like once you see significant Relic 10 investment, you're equally as screwed as if Relic Delta was in play. Like, at least Relic Delta is a manageable system that scales as we progress. Like, it's just so frustrating. People are like, well, just do it differently, do it better. I'm like, I spent all weekend going down the rabbit hole of other ways you can try to work around Relic Delta. And unfortunately, either it's an incredibly expensive fix for where the game is now, or you have to go backpedal through so many years of content to make it, feasible again. And I don't think players understand kind of where that divides at. There's a point in time where you got to make a decision based on the resources at hand and the way that cost benefit analysis, and then push forward with something. You can't sit here and go, well, we might lose 12 players, so we better not do this. I'm like, I think most free to play players, and I've said this multiple times in your the Discord, is, yes, are you going to have a 2 to 3 season period where you're going to get the crap kicked out of you because you're going to be dealing with this change? Yes, it's going to happen. We can't get around that. They're making no intent at this junction to address matchmaking or PvP in general to make those fights more palatable as you go. So we know you're going to have a time of getting the crap kicked out of you. But when things restabilize, you should see more competitive matches. The interim's going to suck. I won't argue the point. But I think this kind of self-corrects some of their matchmaking problems because it should pull those players apart. So it's like we have to kind of go through the process. And unfortunately, everyone's going to take their licks along the way in just different ways.
Yep.
I see that Frozen responded to you. He says this is a made up problem, this thing that Relic Delta is looking to address, because the problem they talk about is people not engaging with higher relics. People aren't engaging with higher relics because the new content they created, like Ahsoka and the pirates, weren't engaging. Good or an incentive. Disagree. I think that's an extraneous argument. I think that's a red herring. Like, I think that first of all, like your assertion about Ahsoka and pirates being uninteresting, that's probably largely fair. But that has very little to do with why people aren't specifically engaging with high relics. People aren't really in a rush to get a lot of Relic 9s because you've seen over the years now. How many years have we been sitting on Relic 9? 4?
Full. Yeah.
There's only a handful of characters, even after all this time, that really call out for it. There's any number of characters that can benefit, and you'll see a lot of my characters are Relic 9 because I started from the ones that needed it and started going down, decreasing little minute advantages and trying to just accumulate those over time. Like, I think those are separate problems. So uninteresting teams might be why people wouldn't wail out for new characters, fully participate in the new era with dollars is what I mean. and just be fine to grind it up free to play. But you may or may not go for Relic 9 independent of whether or not you're going after those latest teams. So it's an issue of, like, you don't feel like you need 9 now. Now they want to introduce 10, but they also don't like this area of the game where 5 is taking on 9. So how do they address that when they really want to add this new vertical progression? Sorry, please.
And we have found as well that we can't, like, as brought up earlier today, we can't just stat bump the various relic levels. That doesn't really solve the problem, especially with how relic levels provide stats and how they differentiate between different characters. So it'll be a whole mess of shit trying to just be, we're just going to change all of the stats that you get from Relic 1 to Relic 9 to 10 eventually, right? So it has to be something different than adjusting those stats. And it can't realistically be, let's introduce additional abilities that scale with relic levels to all 300 plus characters we've got in this game, because understandably that takes a whole fucking metric shit ton of man hours and balancing issues as well, right? So I do agree there is a bit of a design problem there, in terms of if they really wanted to show that there is value in relicking up your characters, particularly to the higher areas, and then also address what is essentially the crunch in trying to actually get characters to high relic levels. Because, you know, like, even endgame accounts, I've got like 50 odd Relic 9, something like that, right? And
but let's be
pretty
real.
much late game, right? Yeah, sorry.
How many of those were like legitimate? You needed to do them, like, wanted to, because you have a whole slew of sub goals and stuff like that makes you
dozens
a
of
bad
sub-goal
candidate for a comparison on that particular thing.
Yeah,
but I think the point is, though, is you see commonly at players at 12, 13, 14 million GP that they have a large surplus of droid brains that they don't spend because there is no reason to. I mean, prior to use, constantly rolling through sub goals, you had hundreds of droid brains and just sat on them because there was no point to continue to progress those, because why? If it wasn't a tank, wasn't a GL, wasn't a requirement, why spend the resource? And that's part of the issue they're trying to address with Relic Delta. Like, they're giving you a reason to incentivizing to keep moving those squads up in relic levels.
Pretty much, yeah.
How many people still have Hera on their Spectre team at Relic 5? How many still have Sabine and Hu Yang at Relic 7? Because there's no reason to keep investing on the team. So it's like you have all these teams where that becomes a legitimate concern for them.
And I see here, good follow up here from Frozen saying, they absolutely have an idea of what they're doing, but they're not run by game developers or designers. They're run by sales and marketing executives who look at numbers and engagement, but have very little care about the game itself. Look at the Lord of the Rings game as a perfect example of why we shouldn't just trust that the $2 billion company is doing it right and has its best interests at heart. I'm not suggesting that you trust them. What I'm saying is that I trust that they know their game better than I do, better than you do. You point out this Lord of the Rings game. I didn't play it. The only mobile game I really ever played was Swugga here, and it's because it's Star Wars. I know somebody on YouTube commented that for what I said about this being a $2 billion game, if Disney pulled the Star Wars IP, if you had the same game without Star Wars, I'm sure it would be a really different conversation. So completely
100%.
fair point. But if my mother were born with wheels, that she'd be a bike. That ain't what happened, right? That's not the case here. So whatever. But like, as far as them being run by marketing execs, yeah, they are, but they're very sensitive to the financials of this game, and so they are making design considerations with the long-term financial health of the game. Like, EA just got picked up, by a new private equity firm. So I know that if a game like this, living this long, is very rare, any company living long under the stewardship of a private equity firm is probably a short-term gamble, unless you've got it. unless you've got it. And I'm not saying that squeezing players for all that many more dollars feels good or is what they're going to do or is a good thing for the game. I don't know. What I'm saying is that they have proposed that with Relic 10, to make Relic 10 feel meaningful, you need a system that, if it is not Relic Delta, was going to have to be one of the other things. And I hear a lot of folks say Relic Delta is bad. What I have not heard anybody else say is why any of those other solutions they said would be better, or what's an actual real good alternative solution. Because I've heard people say, like, it's not really a problem. Okay, well, I mean, I don't think that's a well-reasoned take. I think you saying it's not a problem is you having a lot of Relic 5s on your account and you feeling like it's not a problem. Like, I'm able to engage in the game. It's like, it's not a problem for you right now. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't want free to play players to feel boxed out of the game, but you still have to address this design issue. And folks saying it's not an issue isn't the same as saying what is an actual thing that addresses the incentives problem for Relic 10 without punishing people that are Relic 5 or whatnot. I haven't heard that.
Yeah, every argument I've heard in the other direction, something else they could bring into the game, it's like it's a system that's basically just like it's like you're going through a Build-A-Bear workshop and just grabbing the best shit for yourself. You're like, the game would be better if I just got more shit for free. I'm like, that's not what you like. Your solution is so against, logic that it's just like, well, that's not going to solve the problem. That just makes it easier for you to get what you want out of this game without, I'm not negatively impacted. It's like, we've gone down the rabbit hole in the testing server with some of this stuff and talking about things they could do to help alleviate or, soften things up for a little bit. And we don't know what they're going to come out with yet. We're hoping that sometime next week we get something about the economy changes. That's not even a for sure that they'll even commit to sharing that with us. We're just hopeful that we get something and have a chance to give some feedback before it goes live. But going down that rabbit hole, it's just like, I keep looking at it. I have spent the last 3 days doing hours of testing. And I can tell you for a God-given fact, this system is not going to impact you the way you think it is. You guys are screaming and kicking over 30% damage increase like it's going to upend the world. Will it hurt some counters? Oh, hell yes, it will. But mechanically sound counters that hard beat certain things, they're just going to still roll over it. Hell, some of them still do it at RD5 like it wasn't even there. And people are just like, well, nothing's going to work and the world's going to burn and everything's a disaster. It's like, you don't even have the tools to play with. And I can't show you any of that. That goes against the policy. But, I have played it. It's like, I know what I'm doing. I spent all day today having an R5 Seer squad with an R9 Malicos dunking on R7 GL squads like they didn't exist. Like, you're telling me that's a bad turnaround for the players? Oh, I only have to invest a little bit more in one character and I can go dunk on people that I'm facing in GAC. It's like, it's not like it's the end of the world. Everybody just wants to doom and gloom over it. It's like, you will narrow it down. There are certain things that if you don't have it in your toolbox, you're gonna have to suck it up. But at the same time, if you adjust tactics, if you don't just do square peg round hole all day, it is easy to go, hey, I need to adjust these counters. I need to bring up some teams. I need to switch what I'm putting on defense for a little while until I have a coordinated defense or offense that can work with this new system. And you're still going to get those victories. Because if you're decent at the game going against somebody who has Cat on a JML squad, like, guess what, homie? You're probably still going to beat those assholes. Like, it's possible. You're freaking out about the world ending, and it's like a meteor's coming from the sky and it's going to land as a pebble next to your foot. Like, it's just not going to cause that much chaos at the end of the day. And I think the biggest issue right now with most of Relic Delta talk is the rampant speculation of how shitty it's going to be. And the reality is after just hours and hours and hours of testing, it's not as bad as it looks. There are some things I want changed because I'm looking at ways to abuse the mechanic. And right now there are plenty, which if it goes live at its current state, players can just full on rip with. But the other side of the coin is that we saw them move Delta 4 and 5 in the last version, and we didn't think Delta 5 was going to change ever.
Nope.
So, I mean, I'm hoping for one more iteration. I've got a nice little post to put out there and look at some of that stuff and iterations. But, you know, I'm hopeful that we can get something that works well for everybody, but I don't think players fully grasp the confines of how the system's going to work and what's really going to be affected.
Yeah. Well, let's address, you know, I really want to engage with the people that this is what I enjoyed about the couple of streams that I did is there's a lot of people that are really negative about this. And as long as they're willing to have like a respectful, like conversation, we can still have something constructive, even where we're still largely disagreeing. So, you know, Frozen Italiano says, but the design issue here is that people don't want to spend because there isn't a reason to spend because the new content doesn't incentivize you to spend. Let's say Ahsoka had Leia level power with a team that demanded R8 or R9. Would people spend? Absolutely they would. The fact that they designed Ahsoka with a team that was mediocre and even at higher relics didn't move the needle on her is the design problem. That's on CG for not designing content that would cause people to want to spend. I think I personally disagree with that because they're designed around their requirements, right? And so there's so many people in the game that would be boxed out from meaningful participation if they felt that it's like, yeah, there's the requirements for the event, but I've seen the play footage. Ain't nobody doing nothing real with this team if it isn't Relic 7, Relic 8, Relic 9. I don't think you would want that. That's not good for anybody. I mean, for somebody who has a lot of Relic 9 characters on their roster, I don't suppose it'd make a whole hell of a lot of difference to me, but I don't think that's good for you.
I'd also just jump in real quick on this. It can't just be about new releases as well, because even if GLAT was amazing at Relic 9 across the board and people were really incentivized to go and do it, that doesn't address the entirety of the rest of your roster. Like, there's still no reason to now go back and R9 older teams and older characters, like a CLS, for example. You know, like, releasing new content that is around it doesn't address the still issues that you've got with the rest of your roster. Can't all be about the brand new things. Sorry, continue now, Tess.
I just want to follow up this because I like that there's people here that are willing to explain themselves in full, even though they're largely against this. So anyways, like making it feel like there's the teams themselves are powerful enough to feel like you need to spend would really segment low spend or free to play that are able to get in on these teams on their, I don't know. I think the requirements of several of the new teams and GLs, whatever, pretty generous compared to ones of old. And I don't resent that at all. I want more players. Matter of fact, I wanted to address this here from Narabos. He says, "LOL, the mega whales defending the changes where they profit. Who would have guessed? Of course, they don't care if a specific counter won't work. They have 4 more teams to beat the other team." I mean, you can question my motives all you want, man. What I'm telling you is that I know that it's only a couple matchups on a board where this type of punch up is possible, and if I see that you're about it, I'm going to try and prepare for that because that's the type of player I am. I'm a scouter, and if I can't do that and you beat me anyways, you're never going to see me naysay you for pulling that off. It's rare that I see a severely undersized opponent, but I welcome them. So, there's a lot of folks that say things like that malign whales and say it's like, see, they're cowards. They can't take a real fight. They can't take a man like me stepping up to face them. It's like, buddy, like, I want people like you in the game. I want to see people like you come up in the game. I'm not afraid of you. I want you here, but the long-term future of the game isn't based on making free-to-play happy, guys. It's based on making spenders spend. And they haven't advanced vertical progression in years. This is the time they're deciding they're getting ready to do it, but they see this issue where there's not really great incentive. They don't see it for people that would otherwise be inclined to send. You don't feel the difference of the power. It's just like what you were saying, Frozen. You're not seeing the power in going 8 to 9. You're saying that's because of uninspiring new team design. it's because you can get away in whatever matchup. You know, like Finzori's not a new team. How many new teams have we found that Finzori can just ghetto stomp into the ground? You know, that exceeds their design intention. But you're nevertheless seeing Finzori in the hands of players like Fatal taking on, Galactic Legend Ahsoka teams and the like.
And it's still the case post Delta as well. Finzori is one of those teams that isn't impacted by Relic Delta. Really, it's
and what you guys were saying. Like, it isn't the like you, Carther. You were saying like it where you see the end of the road for this. It's not the end of the world for all the counters that people are worried about being endangered. Maybe just a little bit harder. Maybe what you were doing at Relic 5 versus Relic 9, now you have to do at Relic 7 versus Relic 10, but they're going to help you with new resources to help you bridge from 5 to 7.
So, and I was testing this earlier with Phoenix and Deriva, right? Like, people were like wanting to know, what is that going to look like at Relic Delta 4 and whatever else under the new system? It's like the issue is, it's like Phoenix into Inquisitors when they're Relic 9 to your Relic 5. It is 100% a doable fight. But the rails get off much faster, because if you don't land all your dazes, you might run the risk of getting obliterated by GI's AoE. You might run the risk of losing your tank too quickly to a couple out of turn attacks from Fifth Brother or Seventh Sister taking her bonus turn or getting her turn meter in, whatever that comes out to. Mm-hmm. There are more and more possibilities that you fail that. But the fact that at the worst of it, if you mod well and you've got good potency and you've got good stuff on that team, that you can still just, that counter is unchanged versus a Relic 9 Inquisitor team. It's just like, I think players are worried that their entire roster has to be thrown out and upgraded and done. But it really doesn't change a lot. For the most part, most people are moving a couple of characters up a couple of relic levels, and you're going to be set for the next 2 years, because the odds of CG releasing vertical progression faster than twice a year are incredibly low. Like, it's just, we're not going to see more than 2 relic levels a year, if that at all, right? Like, this is the first one in 4 years, and so it might be 6 months, and they do Relic 11, and then 6 months we do Relic 11. I don't have any clue, but that's just wild speculation from my half. But that's the where the rub is, right? Is that these things still work, counters still work. I was doing Mon Mothma at Relic Delta 3 versus Gungans. It worked. I lost Pow to a Tarpal's attack, so he couldn't be revived. But I was able to still clean up an R5 Momo team into a Relic 8 Gungan team. That's a pretty common thing that a lot of players are going to see. That's not changing. Was it a little messier? Yes, a little messier, but still doable. Relic Delta 4, it went out the window because you're taking way too much incoming damage with all the AoEs. It's not going to work as well. But that's part of the system does. But you'd be surprised how functional teams are at a certain point. There are certain counters that fail full stop into certain teams because they're not mechanically, they can't get around it. But like, you can literally take a Relic 5 Galactic Legend Ahsoka team and press auto versus Jabba and maybe help with targeting, and it will win because you ramp so much damage from the protection up that it doesn't matter that you're trying to punch through that much material. Like, you'll get there, and they don't have enough to kill you with. You've got so much tenacity. But they'll never land the freaking thermals, right? Yeah. And so it's this back and forth on, like, there are mechanically sound teams that will work as counters that will give players in the mid range a chance to continue punching up. But you're going to lose some tools in the toolbox along the process with how this works. But like, and everyone sitting here talking about Leia beating Glat day one. Leia beats Glat because, and I cannot stress this enough, abusing the crap out of the AI. Like, you have Adrad and Jin. You have a character who cannot die, and a team goes, hey, the weakest the character, let's get rid of it. Like, yes, of course you can abuse that mechanic. That's why those loopholes exist some places. It gives players the opportunity to counter this. But you can't sit there and be like, well, that's the exception for everything. I'm like, no, it's one team. If Leia goes against anything that deals a decent amount of AoE damage at a severe relic delta, she's going to get melted into the floor. You can no longer use that as a viable counter versus Slacker, right? That's not going to work. One extra swipe and you're going to go eat it in the face. So it's a give and take on something. Some things still work because you can abuse mechanics, you can abuse the AI, you can abuse a better Datacron or mod investment into your roster and come out ahead. But it will take the people who just go, well, click it and send it. It's going to be more of a challenge. I won't argue that, but it's still doable.
Yeah, it's definitely I think it's a nuanced discussion, and I think people try to boil it down to two simple terms, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure that once it's in the game and people have adjusted, the wheels will keep turning, life will go on, and people that said they'll quit will probably come back at some point. Some people will absolutely quit regardless because they just will, right? And
there are people who are rage playing the game until it drops.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to keep playing until I'm hoping it doesn't come out, but it's like, all right, man, if you're going to quit if it drops no matter what, just be done with it and move along with your life. But it's a hard thing to kind of like get to understand, because like as a tester, you have the ability to go in and do these things, and you have knowledge the average player doesn't have, and so it's hard to convey to them how that experience is going to work. But I think at the same time, I think players will find the experience not nearly as detrimental as it constantly comes across as.
It reminds me a lot of the great nerfing that we had, with armor penetration and stuff like that. People lost their proverbial shit over that because they're like, oh, my Darth Vader won't counter Rey anymore. But then, your gas steps in, your gas counters Rey. And you're like, okay, so we just swapped some counters for other counters and everything is fine. Like, I do wish there was some sort of additional benefit applied to Watt's weapon tech to make up for the loss of the armor pen. Because he was
something
just like straight up nerfed.
Revive prevention.
Yeah. But hey, it is what it is. It's not like Watt is a bad unit. He's still very, very useful. I think eventually it's going to be fine. We'll shake it out. It's we've managed to drastically reduce the original numbers, which is good. Hopefully we can see a few more tweaks before it goes live. We don't know when it goes live either. We've not been told that yet.
Okay, so that's what I have been hearing and largely parroting is even those of you guys inside the program don't even have a soft date that you've heard about, let alone a hard date.
No.
Yeah, the best I can tell you from the recent announcement is they are looking at a couple more weeks of gathering up the final straggling information on testing. Yeah. And a couple is relative. That could be 8 days or the full 14. And then they'll look it down. Everything that I've come across, everything that I'm looking at at face value says somewhere around the 10-year anniversary, this system goes live, and they'll put it with Relic Delta 10 as the front leading package on that particular. And
the new economy changes to whatever's happening with new marquee releases, the way that we earn gear for them, or how do we just get and also legendary events, right? Which sounds kind of promising.
Yeah, all the changes to the events so that Relic Delta takes effect into those. So you should, if you're over Relic, you should be more easily clearing those events. But
also, they were suggesting that the journey guide characters that we get from
unlocking them
may well come fully geared, may well come reliced up already. So like you unlock Jedi Master Mace and you get him at Relic 5 day one. Yeah. That's kind of sick if they do that. I'll be honest.
Yeah, if they do the legendaries as like the unlock grants you a light speed token specifically for that legendary that gives you a certain ability and relic level and whatnot with that, then I think that helps a lot of players get easier access to a lot of their stuff. And the thing is too is we can fight about this all goddamn day about Relic Delta and what it comes down to, but everywhere I look, if CG properly addresses the economy changes to make either 1 through 5 or 1 through 7 easier to accomplish, and they at some point do anything to make matchmaking more tolerable, so we don't see 10 million GP versus 3 million GP as often, most players would go, bah humbug and go back to playing the game. It humors me how you can defuse every single argument with if I gave you a little bit more, so you could take like 10 to 20 characters to Relic 7 in the next month, and then we just go back to normal, and you get a little bit better matchmaking, then we good? And everyone's like, well, yeah, no, then at that point, I think I can compete again. And I'm like, so you're just mad that you're not going to be immediately be able to swing your dick around. And like that's a really dumb point to get caught up on when you're talking about this change, because you're so focused on how it addresses you personally that you refuse to look at a bigger picture. And I think that's just kind of a weird spot to get stuck with this particular system being implemented.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So shall we address Tribe Talks questions, gentlemen?
We can.
Here, sir.
I think we have a few. Anybody that has any questions for the panel, please go into my Discord, into the channel named rather adequately Tribe Talks questions. It's kind of self-explanatory. Leave all questions in there for you. For us, rather. Okay, so first up, it comes from Mr. Coldo himself. Hello, Coldo. How you doing, bro? Gentlemen, would you be supportive of more elective missions for Rise of the Empire TB? Originally, I was thinking just a general event that lets you play through 4 or 6 phases of other games using characters, but the optional Zepho mission is fairly close to Fallen Order. What? I'm not sure what that sentence is. Example, Kyle Katarn versus Mercenaries / Stormtroopers, with the final being Desan or Tavian, Starkiller versus Shadowguard, Vader, Palpatine. Thoughts, gentlemen? More battles in TB? Is this what you want?
How about different battles,
Yeah.
Rotate.
Yep.
Like how they've had certain types of content with whatever, like infamously Grand Inquisitor, whatever type of those are, legendary journeys or whatever, where they only come around every once in a while. Yeah. Make it so that like certain factions for this period, this month are benefited. Then it's a different set of factions, and they take over those same mission spots. Maybe not more, but maybe different, a bit more creative. And for people who like TB, the incentive to build out those teams more than just base requirements to push into the later rounds of TB. Sure.
Or do the thing that they said they were going to do a long time ago and actually swap out planets.
I wouldn't be
lose something for a little while and replace it with something fresh or different.
I wouldn't be against bonus planets locking you out, so it's more of a branching path that you choose to traverse through, rather than you get a bonus planet, you have to beat the bonus planet as well as still doing this planet. I'm not against changing it up and saying, look, you've got a different way to get to phase 6. You can go through different planet routes. Obviously, it would require us to have a lot more bonus planets with different special missions and CMs and stuff like that, but I would be okay with doing stuff like that. I think it's criminal that CG doesn't reuse some of the assets that they spent a lot of time and energy making. So, we're seeing it actually in Conquest. This new version of Conquest, we are getting old raid battles as the bosses for sectors. Why can't we fight the Rancor in TB somewhere? Like, that's cool content. I liked what they did with the Ackley,
they were able to do it with the Crate
Nexus.
Dragon.
They were
able to do it with the Crate Dragon.
They did it with the Crate Dragon, but why not? Why not bring back a Rancor? Why not bring back the Hat? Put it into TB as either a special mission or a standard CM that we can do. Use some of that cool content. The boss fight versus Malak that we have on his legendary unlock. That's a really well-designed battle. Put that inside TB somewhere. I'd like to see some more of that, because we don't see it anywhere else anymore. But yeah, I don't necessarily want just more because TB is already, if you are pushing for a lot of CMs trying to get high stars and stuff like that, it takes a long ass fucking time out of your day to be like, I've got to do 15 different CMs today and 3 SMs. I better set aside 2 hours of my life. Even on full auto, if you are doing it that way, you don't necessarily want to, do you? You don't necessarily want to be spending so much time there. That's my 2 cents on that matter. Anything else from you, gents, on that one?
I've got no. If they want to do like a faction change on a planet and progress something, then just to make it a little bit different, then I would be okay with that. But more special missions that require more guaranteed relic characters, not really the way to go with TB. I would like them to see. I like to see them to just full on swap out planets. That doesn't really have a team you have to use, or just carry over that special mission onto the new planet. But do something unique for a little while. I mean, that was the whole point of this map, was to be able to sit there and go, let's add, subtract, move around, give a different environment. And we haven't done anything with that with 3 years besides add 2 new planets. And some of that stuff was cool, but you know, the Mandalore planet, I think, was lackluster. I think Zepho was a lot more interesting because of what they added. There was a lot more tie-in directly to the game.
The combat units were really cool that they added for Zepho.
Yeah, I enjoyed Zepho's experience more than I did Mandalore. And then besides the fact that Mandalore has an R8 planet with an R9 mission on it, was also kind of a dick kick. So
yeah, I still haven't got full R9 Mandalorians. I don't think I've got any R9.
Gonna need it with that Relic Delta. No, I'm kidding.
No, because they're Relic 8, so it's okay. They'll be barely impacted. I'll be okay with that.
They'll survive that 5%.
Yeah, they'll survive. They'll survive. All right, cool. Thank you, Coldo. Appreciate you, good sir. Launa coming in with the next question. So with the news that the Stranger is intended to take away Starkiller from Seer, I mean, it's just a replacement EP, really. What UFU do you think CG will add down to the game line to replace Starkiller on that squad? On the Seer squad, you mean? Or do you think CG will intend Maul to be the replacement for Starkiller on a Seer team? It's a good question.
I mean, Maul is already a great fifth on that team in general, just because all the extra attacks to ramp up Malicos's stacks in the general nutshell. But it depends. Like, again, that question is so like a whataboutisms of like, well, what datacrons are active? What is there a point to hyper focus an UFU team during this particular time, or can you get away with, you know, the standard lineup prior to bringing in, you know, conquest units or legendaries? And you know, does Mandalorians have a good cron that makes more sense for Maul to lead them at this time? There's so many like what ifs that you could go down that rabbit hole with, but I mean, you can just swap him in. It's not quite as powerful. You don't have the cleanse. But to be fair, Starkiller was never designed to go with Seer. It was a happy accident at best of things.
Yeah.
Completely agreed, basically, on all those points. I think the Seer Malicos team will still be fine, I think, even without Starkiller in there. And we get ourselves another incredibly powerful unit. With the Stranger himself just being absolutely badonkers crazy. So, yeah. Any flavor on that one, Tass?
Nothing really else to add. No.
Good. So, Bubba Joe with the next question then. Greetings, Council of Scribe in the Tribe. I come here today to beg for answers from your immense wisdom and leadership. You're buttering us up here, Bubba. If it pleases the court... Oh, the court jester is here, so can you offer your opinion on the best guesses for the best 1 or 2 teams to use in Forlom prior to Zuckuss coming into the game? Additionally, I would beg for a second question. We'll get to that afterwards. Where do you guys envisage using Forlom before Zuckuss?
Well, the default is going to be Afra because she's a dark side droid with some really obnoxious... Yeah, really obnoxious mechanics. So that's where my head goes to first. Otherwise, bounty hunters really don't have a lot of viability in the current lineup. There's no real good datacron support. There's no real good thing that they can punch into that you commonly see on defense. A lot of that isn't going to really change with his addition, and most of the bounty hunter lineups that you have require the gimmick that needs all 5 of the current members. So I don't see a way to get around that per se. So I would say my default would be under Afra and 5s.
Yeah, I think I like the creativity of that idea, but for me, realistically, probably on the bench until Zuckuss. Like, clearly there's meant to be the 2 of them plus whoever type of thing going on. And where I'm at in the game, the board is already overcrowded. Like, we already have too many good teams for whether it's 3s or 5s. So until the full concept of this team is available, probably not going to, stretch myself to fit him in.
Yeah. I'm fully with Tass on this one. I'm incredibly lazy when it comes to this sort of thing. And if I know there's more shit coming, I'm just going to wait. Be like, yeah, I'll get everything together and then I'll worry about that problem. I don't think that Zuckus is going to make meaningful changes to the wider meta before his team is fully realized. So he's just a marquee. Yes, that too. See, I don't even care to get the names right. That's the extent of the fucks I give. So the second question that Bubba Joe has: what single conquest level character from some Star Wars property do you want to see added to the game, and why is it Lego Darth Jar Jar? It's not. Probably not that, but what single character would you have and legitimately integrate into an existing squad? I already know my stance on this. I'll do it afterwards, but Tass is the guest here, and we don't often get to pick his brains. So Tass, is there a character from Star Wars lore that you would envisage as a conquest level power that you want to see in the game?
I mean, it seems like low-hanging fruit because I've said it many places when this question is answered in any one of its forms. Darth Vitiate, Valkorian.
Okay. Yep.
From the Old Republic MMO. Yeah, that would be the one.
Definitely seen that name bandied around. I'm not really familiar with SWTOR. I played it like when it first came out, and I think he wasn't even in the game in its original release. I think it was an expansion pack that brought him to the game. But I've definitely seen that name bandied around quite a bit.
It's one of those things where it's like my brain likes to go down like a rabbit hole of like looking through the factions and what could use some additional like top tier support. And part of my head wants to go on things like you could do some more stuff with Rebels. You could do some more stuff with different smaller factions that don't have great representation, with characters from like the Jedi Outcast series games. So you could do a villain from there.
Oh, yeah. Desan.
You could do Desan and add a couple of Sith, and you could maybe have him pick up the Marauder and Acolyte, and they can work with something like that. Or you could look at doing something kind of in a broader range, like Smuggler or Scoundrel, that doesn't really, there's a low end part of that doesn't have a lot going on. You could pick a character out of the different comics or books that you could elevate up to be a conquest level. There are those that are there. They exist. You could do something with Darth Krayt with Tuskens and make Tuskens actually fun to play with. I think that would be kind of where I'd want to see most of anything, is that they kind of pick something that's in the lower tiers of characters and bring it up. I would love to see the Exile as a marquee character and bring in some more of the Old Republic characters. I would love to see some of the villains from KOTOR 2 come. We have Kreia and Trey. Well, we have Treya and Scion and Nihilus and that kind of stuff, but they had other ones.
Turning Kreia would be a cool touch, to be fair.
Huh?
Having Kreia in the game would be a cool touch.
Yeah, the neutral version of it. Yeah. I would like to see. There's a whole thing, like slew of things that I could see leading up to like a conquest unit or a legendary of sorts would be that kind of content. There's the whole SWTOR series. I can't remember what they call that stupid. Tass knows exactly what I'm trying to figure out, but the that whole story arc they did with the Eternal Empire. There's a whole slew of stuff you could yank from that and have a good time with.
Yeah, lots of goodies.
That would be fun. You could do Valkyrie and his wife and his 3 kids, and that would be it could be a GL, a legendary, and the rest, or conquest units. Like that is a whole thing you could do.
That is
you could do
5-man team, literally.
You could whole team. Yeah, you could pick Satil Shan. You could do this Mar. I don't remember his Darth Mar. You could do there's a whole bunch of
Darth Mar's
like
underappreciated badass. Yeah.
But he's underappreciated because of how the story. You only appreciate him if you play the Sith storyline, especially in the Sith Warrior. Otherwise, the other storyline, like your only introduction to him, is very short and he dies very quick. But beside the point, there are a lot of good things from that you could yank and bring in. Like Satil Shan as a conquest lifter for the Old Republic Jedi faction. You could bring in Darth Mar as another iteration of something to help bring up Malgus, in TW. There's a couple other things that that you could do for if you wanted to go. Some of it would be fun, but you would need to build up the faction in different ways to make it work. But anyways, the rabbit hole is extensive with the KOTOR and SWOTOR content. There is a lot of things they could easily do to bring in one-offs, even as marquees, and elevate a faction. You could bring in that annoying little shit that pilots the gravestone. I can't remember his name right now. But you could have him as a smuggler, or you could have, the sortie droid come in and be a bitch somewhere else in the game, or there's a whole slew of things you could do if you wanted to just randomly like one up a team. There's a lot of content from that you could bring in. But I could spend hours going through that rabbit hole if you really wanted to, and I don't. So
fair. Well, mine would definitely just be let's have Starkiller, and then
Galen Merrick.
Yeah.
Light side Starkiller.
Yeah. And then you know what I'm going to say, Karth, but we need fucking Proxy in the game, damn it.
Yeah, dude.
You bring out Proxy, you bring out Ram Coda, you bring out Juno
Eclipse. Yeah.
So there you go. That's what I want to see. I want to see Proxy more than I want to see Galen Merrick, to be honest. But I want to see Galen Merrick. Yeah, I love Proxy, dude.
Galen, Proxy,
he just tickles my fancy.
Who do you slot as the fifth? I'm trying to think of who else remains on the team after it's all done, because they technically leave Maris Brood as a loose end there. I think she would be a fun one to like just bring in for kicks and giggles to round out the team. But I would probably lose my shit for the light side iteration of Starkiller.
Yeah.
I would be
that would be fun.
Next to like Delta Squad or more clone troopers coming, it would be like the first thing to be like, CG, let me just grab my wallet real quick and start dumping out until you think the pile's large enough.
Give me my units. Yeah. Good times. Thank you, Bubba Joe, for your question there. Darth Jar Jar comes in with a question next. Is it worth it to get Omicrons for GAC or just spending them all on TB and TW when I'm stuck in Carbonite as a free-to-play player?
Oh, God. That is such a loaded question.
It's not that loaded. It's GAC is a source of crystals. So you are well served spending Grand Arena Omicrons here with priority considered. Like don't rush to put on Qui-Gon Jinn's Omicron in the modern game anymore. It's not that it's terrible. It's that it's outclassed. So there's a right and wrong way to do it, but that is a top priority. You can get a large part of the way in TB without ever considering a TB Omicron. So I don't know about that. And then you're likely very much wanting the rewards from TW. So for me as a Grand Arena player, my top priority is Grand Arena, then TW for Omicrons.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. I would still invest in GAC Omicrons, because even if you're stuck in Carbonite now, when eventually you get out of there, you don't want to be like, I've got 17 TW Omicrons and I've got 0 GAC Omicrons, and now I'm missing all of these opportunities in which I can use some of these characters. So I would still invest in GAC. It's my favorite mode. So.
Yeah, TB is one of those things where it's like, under very specific circumstances, under very specific team comps, do those Omicrons pay you any kind of dividend, right? It's very, very narrow. Because most of the new teams that come out with it, Mandalorian, Spectre, Bad Batch, all that kind of stuff, all of their Omis don't really move the needle on their team. I mean, like, you can full auto Jedi Vanguard with or without the Omicron on Deba.
Yeah, Mace is phenomenal.
So there's a lot of reasons to like limit what you need to do there, unless you absolutely there's something for your guild. But that's the problem overall with TB and TW Omicron investment is you are, for meaningful impact, you need a large portion of the guild to buy into it, right? Like if you only have one Mara Jade Ami, it's not really going to change your TW performance as a guild. If you have 30, then that's our can of worms. So TW is one of those things that the guild buys in. It might be one of those things, but you come back to GAC Omicrons are worth the investment because it directly impacts your crystal economy. By if you can win more with them, you can do more with them. The only problem with GAC Omis, depending on that particular level, is you have to be way more, pencil and pad paper analysis onto what's going to mostly directly impact your account when you make that Omicron upgrade. Because like Taz said, slapping Qui-Gons anymore, it's good, it helps, but it gets outclassed very quickly and it's very easy to get around. And so it's like when you need to look at what you can effectively equip to, then that becomes more of the question of where do you put your GAC Omicrons? Not that you should or shouldn't do them, but where they go.
Fair shout. Fair shout. Good answers there, gentlemen. I think we're all largely in agreement on that stance. So, Dead on the Inside has a question for us. With GAC Omis... Oh, hang on. He's answering questions. He's answering the person's question. He's mistreating the question section. Okay, let's get rid of those. So, Rover has the eternal question. Garth, have you seen Skeleton Crew yet?
I have not.
And everybody was surprised.
I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer to it. I actually, it's on my favorite list on Disney Plus. I just haven't had enough time to sit down and watch it because I know if I'm going to watch it, it's going to take my full attention, and I've been doing too many other things.
Fair.
The past few weeks.
Out of curiosity, Tass, have you watched Skeleton Crew?
Oh yeah, I watched it on release as it was coming out.
Thoughts? What's your opinion on Skeleton Crew?
Yeah, what I thought is that it was a kid's show. It was meant for a younger audience to get them into Star Wars. There are some plot holes. There are some things that, as an adult, I'm sitting there and saying, yeah, that shit don't make sense, though. Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? And it's just... it's okay. It's okay. Like the show, it had a reasonable storyline, and it was whimsical, and it was very much delivering on the experience that its intended audience was meant to have. And I'm just not the intended audience.
And that's totally fair. That's totally fair. I'd say that's a fair take. I thought it was fine. I think I would rather have that than something like The Acolyte. It was relatively lighthearted, definitely intended for a younger audience. But like I said, set your expectations before you go in, and I don't know, maybe you'll be okay. All right. So the next part of the question, which is where the questions actually begin, I think, from Rover. So, which team could use a bolster before the year ends, and what character should it be? What do you think, gents? What team is in desperate need of a bit of an uplift?
What was the question? Sorry.
Which team could use a booster unit before the year ends, and what should that booster unit be, essentially?
Who's fallen by the wayside?
I mean, I always like to go back to. I always like to go back to Padme personally, like.
Oh, the OG Padme?
OG Padme, yeah, not Queen Amidala. I know she just doesn't have a team anymore, right? She is a minor supporting role, and has some use in TW. But I would like to see her come back to relevance again. That would be fun.
I would like to see the prepared team have a little bit more bite on them.
That would be kind of cool. Dash used to be a staple in Grand Arena. Rarely ever seen anymore. That's a good one, actually. I mean, if we're talking about it, why are we not talking about Ewoks? They've tried to give Ewoks help before, and the help wasn't enough help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Jibble would love that.
It only addressed such low-hanging fruit that it wasn't worth like stopping to pick them back up to anything meaningful. Like, I think the majority of people who have them at high relics that weren't a part of the game, like or end game or whatever else, is because they bought the Lightspeed bundle for it, and that's how they got R7 Ewoks. But man, I'd almost want to say like the Separatists could use some boosting too, because Trench is so dependent on a Datacron to be punching in his, and I mean outside of TW. It's harder for him to be viable. GG has his moments, but he's really locked in behind Datacrons with the Stap Omicron.
Yep.
That could be kind of fun. Troopers could use some love. They haven't done shit in a fortnight.
Yeah.
Or 12. You know,
Imp Troopers is a weird one, right? Though, because I feel like you have to be so careful with
they
a
need
lift
so
troopers.
Little to be so diabolical. I know it's you have to ride it on a knife's edge.
It does. It either does nothing or you've just unleashed a monster. And not that I'm saying I disagree though. It would be kind of cool.
The second they give a Datacron that either gives one ally the turn meter or buffs at the beginning of the turn so they can boost turn meter at the start, they'll be back to being in a dominant position again.
Yeah.
But I would still love to see something more dedicated, because it's like Iden came, but she really didn't move the needle for General Veers and kind of created her own team. But then her own team kind of got picked apart by the need to power condense General Veers, and then Moff Gideon, Dark Trooper Moff Gideon took the rest of it. And so it's like you're kind of playing this kind of power game back and forth as to what's functional. Actually, you know what else would be kind of cool to see is the original Boba Fett Son of Jango team to get some love.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because CG spent this last year just kicking the shit out of what they were supposed to do when they initially came to the game like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the clones were like, hey, Boba Fett, go suck a fat one.
I did thoroughly enjoy the Dad Bod Boba FDC. That was a lot of fun when that was in the game.
Yeah.
So that's you know what could have been with Dad Bod Boba, I guess.
What still could be.
What still could be, if you play your cards right. But I don't know who would you bring in, and I don't want it to be the biker boys, the mobs,
the Power Rangers.
The Power Rangers, yeah. Because that would,
I don't know.
That would make me feel a certain kind of way, and I don't think it would be a positive certain kind of way. So.
It's fair. I could even see like they could bring in somebody else for the B team First Order or well, because Finn Zori is kind of the B team Resistance, which is not B team. It's very good, but like the Phasma side of the First Order could also use like General Pride or something like that. Something, or just Snoke takes everybody as a freaking pawn and consumes them and becomes the new like Uber Darth Bane, which is like. It's shitty banners, but you're guaranteed to blow up the board, which granted, like Tass said at the very beginning of this, shit we don't need more of in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Alrighty. So Rover then asks, have we seen any impact with R10 yet with testing? Nope. Relic 10 is not live in the test world. So we don't.
Not in the test environment.
No. And, they do have to be very careful with Relic 10, particularly around how much mastery they give characters, just because evasion mastery is a fucking thing. The last thing you want is Ezra dodging every attack from turn one. You're like, for fuck's sake.
Honest to God, that was one of my first like feedback points to them. I'm like, hey, we're already pissing everybody off with Relic Delta. Why don't we just take evasion out of relics? We just say no, we're replacing that with a different stat, and you guys, we apologize. But like again, the amount of people that have taken an evasion character up to Relic 9 solely for the evasion has got to be only a couple thousand. It cannot be a mass reason to relic most of a player's roster. I mean, like I did JTR for that reason. I've done Luminara for that reason. I've done a few others for that reason, but that's because I could, not because it was a good idea. And most of the metas, it never really mattered. There were always a couple where, it was a pain in the ass, but I mean, if it disappeared, I don't think I would cry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely would like to see evasion mastery not be a thing. So it's just me. What about you, Tass? Any thoughts on what could possibly go fucky with R10 in terms of relic?
I mean, you mentioned, so we don't know what's coming in Relic 10 at all, but
No.
surely it will have some amount of mastery in it.
Mhm.
And where we have protection in Relic 10 in Relic 9 for everybody. You might have been able to get protection on previous relics if your mastery was tank, but I don't know that it's going to be that way. Like, I don't know that it's going to be, tank skewed, right? So given what you just said about mastery, that's like the only concern that we can really have. We don't know what the stat profile of Relic 10 is. No. But yes, Exile Ezra is an immediate concern. You can see why, just for mastery reasons. Some folks would ask, like, who would you put it on, or who would your first Relic 10 whole team be? Knowing nothing else, surely Lord Vader would be a top contender, right? Because the man himself, and surely, all of his allies benefit from whatever the gain is for survivability, even if it is just health, like previous relics have been for non-tanks. But just the added mastery on all of those sides getting folded in to Lord Vader's own mastery when he hits ultimate, and having a higher base mastery himself being Relic 10. Yeah, that sounds like bad news.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that unlike Hondo is kind of the first GL where there wasn't really any significant mastery boosting through the kit itself, which they did explicitly say because of evasion, they were worried about that taking place, which is why the other characters interact with Prophet to boost their damage instead of using the mastery gains that you'd normally have with the GL leadership. So yeah, my understanding for the most part is you're going to see things trend the same direction. The question is, how big do the steps go up? Do we keep adding, like a lot of characters we see like them get somewhere between 3 and, well, most characters got 6,000 health, 6,000 protection when they went from Relic 8 to Relic 9. A lot of attackers see that particular increase. And I would not be surprised if we saw that trend continue, because again, I think Relic 10 still has to insulate those investments with the increased bulkiness, because that was something that Fatal and I had done in testing. We were testing Relic Delta 3 Inquisitors, and he was struggling from R6 to R9, and I was crushing at R5 to R8. And so having the full team at Relic 9 with the mastery boost and everything with it, it did leave more RNG on the table, which made it more challenging to get through them. So as you kind of naturally progress upward, they will self-insulate as you can get more and more of your roster that direction. But I think we'll still see that kind of that Relic 9 boost be reflected again in Relic 10, where they're going to insulate everything because it makes it that much more worth your time to push those Relic levels higher. Because not only are you dealing more damage, harder to hit, have more base accuracy, whatever else, you get an additional like 10,000 combined health and protection, which with mods and datacrons can get you into loopy situations very quickly.
Definitely. Yeah. Good discussion, gents. Soy Pollo, he's a chicken, apparently, asks, CG needs to face Wales versus Wales so Relic Delta won't be a problem because matchmaking sucks. When I had 3 million GP, got matched up with 10 million GP. How the hell will I stand a chance? I mean, Wales largely do get matched with Wales in the broader sense of things. Because
at the very, very top. But I mean,
the top, yeah.
The issue with that junction, no matter which way you cut it, is it has nothing to do with the matchmaking, because realistically, the matchmaking in this game is very binary, right? It's your skill rating, you get chopped into a block of 8, you fight those 8 players, and so it's not like it's a MMR real score where you're fighting and improving, and then you get matched in that pool and whatever else you face those kind of players. So I mean, for me, for the most part, unless they overhaul in totality how GAC works, you're not getting out of this. And like I said very early at the beginning, Relic Delta should organically pull those players apart, because you shouldn't see them as more, because they should be winning more of their matches. They should naturally be progressing out of wherever they're at, because their competition shouldn't be able to be winning against them because they have that Relic investment. Is that fair? I don't think that is, but it's irrelevant. The reality is that the longer Relic Delta is in game, it should help improve those situations because it should pull those players farther apart. And if you end up seeing players still in that division, still at that mismatch, it's because they do not play. And so you might be getting the one round a week that they decide to show up and do more than 10 banners. But the reality is that at that junction, if they're still there at that period of time, they do not play GAC more than maybe one round a week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's the people that abscond from playing for extended periods of time that really fuck up the matchmaking. But hey, I've always been of the opinion that if you're a 3 million guy and you're facing 7, 8, 9 million players and you're still winning that battle, you know, the guy with the higher GP has got some pretty big issues if they're not able to win. You could still be winning those situations if you just need to get a little bit of, if you just need to clear half the board or get a little bit. I do agree. I wish it didn't exist, but unfortunately, CG are not addressing matchmaking at this point in time.
Yeah.
Sucks. I think it's going to be worse for TW, to be honest, because there's much broader issues there.
That was my recommendation to them, is for like a brief period of time, is to flatten rewards in the PvP modes to give players a little time to acclimate before they are thrown in the deep end. But I have zero idea if that even landed on anybody listening, because it's like half the stuff that we say, it's like they do read it all, but they don't always, say anything about it, which is almost more infuriating, because I'm like, is my feedback just sitting here collecting dust, or where are we at?
I'm sure they're reading it. Oh, dear me. Okay, so Sith Master says, hey guys, great stream. Love to see Tasnex in here, and I would love to see a rework / Omicron for Vader, Yoda, etc. So not really a question, but he's just appreciating your presence, much like the rest of us are as well, Tas.
My pleasure to be here. It's been too long.
It has been too long. I agree.
I do agree, though. I think they should do something in an Omicron capacity for Vader and Yoda. Vader,
that would be nifty.
To be fair, Vader, to be fair, with his major Merciless Massacre rework, he doesn't need a lot of help. He could probably do like one, but like Yoda could use a couple, because Yoda is A, made of glass, and B, he is one of the most iconic characters in the series. And he is like by far one of the most passable Jedi, and only exist in current meta because he does one gimmick really well, which is collecting and spreading buffs. Yeah. Like outside of that, he doesn't really have room with JMK because he can't gain turn meter. Doesn't really have room with a JML team because Cal's better and Cal does the things.
Cal is very good.
You need the other teams to go with him, and then Padme only takes him as a defensive annoyance. I want to put as much foresight as possible to make it hard for Bane to effectively clear the squad. And that's about the one thing he does. And it's kind of sad that such an iconic character of that nature is just like, well, I'm just here.
Yeah.
But I mean, Vader does feel the same way. He hasn't been used meaningfully in a long time. So maybe with EP Mara getting freed up again, they give Vader a boost, or they give them a fifth character that kind of helps that team elevate into a more meaningful
You watch them put an Omicron on GMY's leadership. You'd be like, fuck!
I think that Omicron on Grandmaster could probably be a lot more easily balanced than an Omicron further boosting Darth Vader. Darth Vader doesn't need a lot of help to like one versus a team. Mm-hmm. We've seen it years ago. I worry about that because, yes, he doesn't get a lot of use in the modern game. I think most recently, like months and months ago now, for sure, it would have been alongside Afra against Jabba, right? Just helping him put the kibosh on Bausch that much earlier in the fight.
Yeah.
But that's about it. So, I mean, I see it, but Grandmaster's got a lot less danger built into him than Vader.
Well, Vader would have to be faction slaved. He would need to be, if all allies are Empire or something.
I mean, make it make sense and I'm cool.
Yeah, but like honest to God though, you want GMY to have like some real good use against certain teams. Just make his leadership active with any other leadership. If he's on the leadership role, this effect, it becomes a unique for Jedi. And then you have a very interesting character, and then just let him share the immunity to shock. That could be fun. That could be a fun thing to exploit. I'm just saying, like, it wouldn't take much to make the character more of a higher demand pick for like a JML fight, or for, you know, anything else that you could really use him with. I mean, hell, even JMK could use the immunity to shock and then have a better chance of, you know, beating down on Slacker more reliably. I mean, not that it's a bad counter now, but just what's jumping to my head.
No, I think that would be good. I definitely think that would be good. I would personally like it to be a little bit more tied to JML, just because JML, one, is getting a little bit kicked in the dick by Relic Delta, and two, he doesn't do anything crazy special. He's
only getting kicked in the dick if you don't have an R9 character on the
Cal.
And he is one of the highest value Relic 9s. Like, we were talking about how few characters truly actually need it. He's one of them.
Yeah, it's just the whole Relic Delta thing. Because if you use his inherited teachings and you call to assist like an R5 Jedi, and you're going up and you're targeting an R9 unit, it's going to reduce the damage, which sucks. But hey, that is a price to pay if you have got an R9 Cal.
That Jedi Knight Luke or Jedi Knight Cal, or
Cal's definitely the best bet there, because you're going to be wannabe.
Yeah,
always calling Cal, right?
Well, yeah, like Fatal said, he's the one that gets the coin like every time you can, especially when he's got the ability to attack under protection. So it's just going to push needing a second R9 character on that team to temporarily get around not having a full R9 Jedi team, which, I mean, we understand that's not a high priority for a lot of people.
Yeah, fair. All right, so final question of the evening comes from Nodak Mountain. Profundity or Starkiller? Which should I finish first? Both only need 4 tunes increased in relics.
Profundity?
Easily Profundity, yes.
Ship is way more important than Starkiller. Starkiller is fun, don't get me wrong.
He's great fun.
But Starkiller, outside of like the use of in a Seer Malicos team, like the OG Starkiller team is so dead in the water right now that unless there's no Datacrons in play, does the team usually have a chance on winning versus the older teams it's supposed to counter, kind of thing, right? So I mean, if that's all you've got is the EP Mara Starkiller, and you're facing any kind of Datacrons on a normal, the value is going to be in Profundity on your fleet climb, and hopefully being able to place higher in fleet or do better on holding your GAC battles by having a second meta fleet or a third. I don't know which one you're on.
Yeah, I agree with these gents. Profundity is, especially in now that, you know, the Rogue One is the thing.
Yeah,
and it only needs to be 3-star and sit there, and you
exactly. It has definitely turned the table. But even without Rogue One, I would probably still be saying get your fleet sorted first.
I agree with you. I think I'd say the same regardless. Even if there was no Rogue One, like Profundity is way more important to fleet than what Starkiller is to squads. It's not close.
Yeah.
And to be fair, speaking of things that CG has done for the player base that are just a massive net positive, Rogue One being a literal 3-star buff stick to the fleet. You don't have to do anything else to it besides have the pilots unlocked, which they damn near gave away for free during the event anyways.
Yeah, and like, you do need to level up the unique ability, but that's hardly a big deal.
They even quit the need to have it 5 stars to unlock the reinforcement bonus.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like when people say that CG doesn't do enough, I don't think people appreciate everything CG does do, because it's such a flash in the pan. It's there and it's gone. They don't think about it anymore. And the reality is, like Tass said at the beginning, CG has spent the last 2 years drastically improving the early and mid game experience for players, and specifically those who do happen to spend. But the overall on it's been massively improved. And I think people just gloss over the difference in between, because you don't really, it's not tangible. It's not something you got to see or do. It just, you experienced it over time, and therefore the change isn't as noticeable. But if you look back at how you did things a year ago or 2 years ago, you might take a greater appreciation of it. But it's a hard thing to look back on because it's so incremental along the way.
Yeah, fair.
Anyways.
Thank you, gents. We've had one bonus question from Kadar. Hi, Kadar. How you doing, buddy? He says, for shits and giggles, boxers or briefs? I'm a boxers guy. I need a little bit of ventilation down there. I'm not about that tidy whitey position.
Well, they're not tidy whities. They're briefs.
Are they not? I thought those were the same thing.
I respect the boxers crowd. I do, because I rocked them for many years. But if you know things about men's health, and if you don't, Google what a hydrocele is, because you only need to have a wake up with one of your balls really swollen once before you go see your doctor, and he's like, you're at the part of life where you need to be wearing like briefs or boxer briefs. So boxer briefs it is. And now I'm a boxer brief.
Yeah.
I am terrified of Googling this.
And
yeah, I don't wish it on you, but here you are.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sorry. When I hear briefs, I think of boxer briefs. I don't think of.
Oh, I'm thinking tidy whities. If you say.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, sorry. I have so. Yeah. Anyways, no. Boxer briefs is what I wear, because I work construction, and having those things flangle around while you're trying to do shit is not awesome. So no, thank you.
Fair. That's a very good question, though. And that does round out all of our questions and does herald in the end of Tribe Talks today. Unless there is something, gentlemen, that you wish, with the urgency of a man with hydrocele testicles, anything you want to discuss before we call it a night?
Thankfully, it was a temporary condition. Again, alleviated by said boxer briefs. So, yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that.
I wouldn't wish it on any. Yeah. Just imagine waking up feeling like you'd been repeatedly kicked in the balls.
I mean, that's never a good feeling for anybody.
Who would you wish that
on? Not even my most hated enemy. Oh dear me. Garth, anything for the table about your balls? I don't know.
No. I could ramble on and on for a good long while here about how I feel about things changing with Relic Delta, but
same all night.
I think for the over under on it is that my parting words on it on this particular episode will be that I think players, once they get their hands on it, once they have time to test it and see how it goes, I do not think it will be as detrimental as it has been spooled up to be.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you think it's fair, whether you know how it caters to, that's beside the point. I think once you get your hands on it, once you're able to test it, if it comes out anywhere where version 5 is right now, I think for the most part, most players will not have as negative experience as it has been drummed up to be talked about.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
My expectation in the end. Apropos of nothing, I have no reason based in data to think this, but I think that whatever you're not, when Relic Delta lands, whatever you're used to being able to do at Relic 5 versus Relic 9 that they're intending to narrow those opportunities from, if they mean for you to go up to Relic 7 to be able to fight Relic 9, 10 like that, and they help you with the resources, as they alluded they'll be improving the economy to do, then it seems like it depends on how much they give, of course, but it's going to be like a partially free push from wherever you've gotten yourself free to play or low spend into the mid game, and having a push helping you prioritize units about what you want to take up into the end game. Like Arthur said, though, I mean, and so many others, you're right to be skeptical and reserve judgment for the final product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you both, gentlemen. Thank you, all you wonderful listeners at home, both on Spotify and Apple podcast things, and the people in the live chat. Appreciate you all very much. Tasnix, a big shout out to you. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. I'm sure we'll have you on again very soon. Do you want to pimp any of your shit before we leave?
I mean, just, you'll catch me live. I'll be going in probably 2 or 3 hours, something like that, like 9 or 9:30 Eastern here for my own Grand Arena tonight. You can catch me live at twitch.tv/Tassinix, or on my YouTube channel, where I also simulcast from, Tassinix Gaming. And thank you again for having me. I look forward to coming back again sometime.
Sweet. Thank you, everybody. Good night.